Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video here on FPL Now, your number one source for tips, tricks, and everything you need to know for Fantasy Premier League football. Today, we're going to be going over some of the best transfer targets for Game Week 11. So, if you're excited for the video, as always, make sure to drop a like down below. Let's try and hit 30 likes. Leave a comment. Who are you thinking about bringing in this week? Who are you thinking about taking out? Subscribe if you're brand new. Let's get into the video. So, starting things off, Raul Jimenez. I have been telling people to bring this guy in for as long as I can remember. He had a pretty slow start to the season, but now he is paying off with 5 returns in 5 games, and in one of those games he only played 1 minute because he came on as a sub in like the last minute of the game. So it's basically 5 returns in 4 games. But this guy is on fire, and I'm so happy I've had him for as long as I have because he just keeps saving my game week. I had an awful game week, but a big fat 9 points from him last night was chef's absolute kiss. He is 7.6 million, but as I said, he just keeps rolling over. He just keeps returning. I know a lot of people are going for Hwang as well, and we'll talk about Hwang later, but in my opinion, I think Jimenez is just the better player, and he's on penalties. His XG is 2.6. Expected assists of 1.5. He scored 2 goals so far this season. He's assisted 3. He's only owned by 7.7% of teams as well. He obviously did a really good finish against Pickford last night. But yeah, he hit the post as well, which would have been a Semedo assist. So that was fantastic because obviously I've got Semedo in my team as well. So it could have been a completely different story. But yeah, I really like Jimenez. And they've got some nice fixtures coming up as well. Crystal Palace away might actually be quite a tough fixture, but I can still see Jimenez scoring in that game. Then they have West Ham at home, which again is a very tough fixture. West Ham I could see finishing in the top 4 this season. They're just playing really well. It really depends on how they play over the next few game weeks because they've got like Liverpool and Chelsea and City, I think, over the next 4 or 5. So that's why a lot of people are unloading their West Ham players. But then after West Ham, he has Norwich away and then Burnley at home. 2 really good fixtures. However, though, after that, it's Liverpool at home, and then I think it's like Chelsea, City. Like, Wolves' fixtures are really bad game week 15 onwards. So if you're going to bring in Jimenez or Hwang or any Wolves players, I'd honestly just get them in for the next 4 fixtures because after that it is just not good at all. So Jimenez, like I say, really good option though. He's on penalties. I'm really enjoying having him in my team. Hopefully he does get a penalty soon, so it just makes more sense to bring him in instead of Hwang or whatever, but I completely understand why people are bringing in Hwang as well. And again, like I say, we'll talk about him later, but Jimenez, I just think he keeps rolling over. He's just in form now. He keeps scoring. He keeps just getting returns, and because a lot of people don't own him, only 7.7% of teams own him, when he does score or get an assist, it usually helps your rank out. It's not like when Salah scores because everybody's got him. So yeah, Jimenez I definitely think is an option you should think about bringing in, especially if you want to sell Antonio this week as well, because as I just said, Antonio's fixtures are really bad now, and he's just an easy downgrade into Jimenez. I know a lot of people are bringing in Tony as well. That's another really good player to bring in, but Jimenez for me, I think he's just got some really nice fixtures coming up. Crystal Palace, then Norwich and Burnley in the next 4. Really good fixtures for Jimenez. Coming up next, Reece James. A lot of people are bringing in this guy this week, and why not? He's Chelsea's top scorer this season with 4 goals, which is interesting because he's a right wing back. He is 5.7 mil. I could easily see that going up to 5.8 by the end of the week. The only thing about wingbacks, I know that Chilwell and Reece James are popping off at the moment, but their stats aren't actually that good. Like, his XG is only 0.8, and I know that's because he's a wingback, but he's scoring basically with all of the shots that he's taking, so that's great. But is that going to keep happening? Probably not. Like, Reece James is just popping off like every single week at the moment, and yeah, I completely understand the hype around him and why a lot of people are wanting to bring him in, but is he going to be scoring 2 goals or a goal every single week? No, probably not. But again, he is a really good option. He's one of the cheaper Chelsea defenders that seem to be starting every week, so again, that is another reason why a lot of people are jumping on. He's got a lot of assist potential though, 1.5 assists, expected assists should I say. He scored 4, as I said. He's got 2 assists so far this season. He's owned by 12.8% of teams. Chelsea's next fixtures are a little bit rocky though. They have Burnley at home, which I 100% expect them to have a clean sheet. At Stamford Bridge, they're just an absolute unit. They just cannot concede. I don't even think they've conceded a goal through open play this season either. I think it's mainly just been through penalties and stuff and set pieces or whatever. But yeah, open play, they just haven't conceded a goal. Then Leicester away. Again, I could see them keeping a clean sheet against Leicester. Leicester were not very good at the weekend. So yeah, I think Reece James, again, if he starts all these games, could hopefully get a clean sheet there. Man United at home, again, will Ollie be in charge at United by game week 13? Who knows? I guess it all depends on the City game. But then they've got Watford away, again, another clean sheet you would expect. And then West Ham in game week 15. As we spoke about West Ham fixtures, Chelsea is one of them in game week 15. So yeah, kind of rocky fixtures. The only annoying thing as well about Chelsea players is the rotation. Tuchel tombola. We do have Champions League this week. Will Reece James play in the Champions League? Will Azpilicueta play? I think that Reece James will play in the Champions League this week, and then I think Azpilicueta will potentially play at Burnley at home, because I think Tuchel knows that he's going to beat Burnley at home, but he also knows that he needs to win the Champions League game as well, because it'll just make things easier. So Reece James being in the form that he's in, I think he would rather him play in the Champions League. He doesn't necessarily need a rest. He's still a really young guy. He's very, very fit. He's expected to be able to play these kind of games and these midweek games and stuff. So yeah, that's just what I personally think. But again, if he doesn't start the Champions League fixture, then yeah, Reece James is more than likely going to play at the weekend against Burnley at home. But that is the only problem with wing backs, because you also have Azpilicueta and Alonso as well as Reece James and Chilwell. It's not like Rudiger at the back, who is nailed. Also, something interesting to think about is Rudiger's actually had the most shots out of James, Rudiger, and Chilwell. I think Rudiger's had like 8 shots over the last few game weeks, where Reece James has had like 4 or 5, and then Chilwell's had like 2 or 3. So just because Rudiger's shots haven't gone in, everybody's been jumping on Reece James and Chilwell, but Rudiger is taking more shots. So I think it's only a matter of time until Rudiger starts scoring some goals and everybody jumps on him. The best thing about Rudiger though is he's a nailed centre-back in the Chelsea lineup, and barring any injuries, he will be playing like every single game. So yeah, that's the Reece James kind of situation. We've also got the Ben Chilwell situation as well on the other side of the field. Just got a price rise up to 6 mil now, so one of the more expensive defenders in FPL this season. And again, Chilwell's stats are a little bit interesting, because his expected goals 0.6, expected assists 0.5. They're not the greatest, really. He hasn't got an assist this season. He's obviously scored 3, and he's owned by 17.9% of teams. But yeah, 0.6, 0.5. Like, Reece James' stats are much better than that at 0.8, 1.5. So would you opt to go for Reece James, or would you opt to go for Chilwell? Personally, I would still go for Chilwell, because it just seems that he's kind of kicked Alonso out of the starting lineup now. And I think that Azpilicueta is more likely to play than Alonso. So that's why Reece James might be more likely to get benched. But Chilwell is just kind of defining that position now. You know, he's scoring goals, he's playing well at the back, you know, they're keeping clean sheets. I don't really think Tuchel would want to change that. He'll still play Alonso in like cup games and stuff, and maybe the odd Champions League game or whatever. If they're winning 3-0, they will take Chilwell off. But as of right now, I think Chilwell is just the designated left wing back or left back in that Chelsea squad. Again, we've already been over the fixtures for Chelsea: Burnley, Leicester, Man United, Watford, and West Ham. Like, the fixtures are kind of good, then bad, then good, then bad. It's one of those situations which is never great. You kind of just want to see a bunch of green 2 fixtures when you're bringing in a player. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people are jumping on Chilwell this week, and again, why not? As I always say, don't make any transfers until after the Champions League game. Yeah, he could start the Champions League game, but he could also get injured. And if you bring in Chilwell and then he gets injured in the Champions League game, you've shot yourself in your foot, because you're going to have to take a -4 to take him out, unless you obviously have 2 free transfers, which isn't something you want to do. So yeah, as always, especially with Champions League fixtures, wait until after them. So yeah, if I had the option, I still might bring one of them in this week, but I already have Rudiger, so that's kind of my Chelsea centre-back, and I don't usually like doubling up on defence. I know it's as good as a defence as Chelsea is. There's also the risk of rotation and stuff like that. But if I was going to bring one in this week, I would probably bring in Chilwell. But that's just my personal opinion. Coming up next, we're going to be talking about Hwang, the other Wolves striker. So this guy is really, really good value for money. Like, exceptionally good value for money. He's playing every single game, like 90 minutes pretty much every single game. He's only 5 mil. He did get a price rise last night. But yeah, he's only 5 mil. He's got an XG of 2, expected assists 0.9. He's scored 4 so far this season. He hasn't got any assists, and he's in 11.8% of teams. So yeah, the reason that Hwang is so good is just because he's so cheap. Like, Jimenez is 7.6, Hwang is 5.8. So that's what, 1.8 difference. That's really, that's a lot of money. You know, that could easily get you from like a Livramento to a Chilwell. You know, that's just kind of the differences there. So yeah, I understand that Jimenez is on pens, and I prefer Jimenez as well. Hwang is a very, very good option. The only problem with Hwang, though, that I will say, which is another reason that I'm not bringing him in instead of Jimenez, is because after Crystal Palace, West Ham, Norwich and Burnley, when they do have that really, really bad fixture run of like Liverpool, City, Chelsea, all these juggernauts of the teams in the league, Hwang is a difficult player to kind of upgrade because, as I said, if you're selling a striker and you're bringing in Hwang and he's 5.8 and then you're using that money elsewhere to, like I say, bring in Chilwell, you then need money somewhere else in your team to bring another striker in for Hwang when his fixtures get so bad, and it's going to be difficult to do because that means you're going to have to take out a good player to just upgrade Hwang to, I don't know, maybe even Tony or an Antonio or something like that. So that's the only reason I don't like bringing in really, really cheap strikers, unless if you've got loads of money in the bank, fair play, you know, that sounds great. But usually you're bringing in a striker at this price so you can kind of upgrade the rest of your team. So yeah, if you do bring in Hwang, you are going to be in that position where you will have to take like another good player out to get rid of Hwang when the fixtures get really bad. And they get really bad. Like, I'm not saying it's like maybe one bad fixture in 3. It is literally like bad. Like, Wolves fixtures take a massive turn for the worse. So yeah, that's why I like Jimenez, just because you can upgrade him to Antonio for like 5 or 6 mil. You could easily downgrade him to Tony. Like, he's an easier player to get rid of when that fixture turn happens. But that is Hwang. Again, another striker that I was going to go over in today's video is Tony. Tony do have Norwich, which is obviously a fantastic fixture for Tony. I just wanted to go over 5 different players, and instead of Tony, I've gone over Gallagher today. So Gallagher is another very, very cheap midfielder, and probably one of the best cheap midfielders in the game at the moment. He's obviously got an expected goals of 2.1, expected assists of 1.6. He's scored 3 goals so far this season. He's assisted 2. He's in 8.7% of teams, and they actually have a really nice fixture run coming up. So they've got Wolves at home, then they've got Burnley away. Like, Wolves can't keep a clean sheet for their lives. I don't know. They've got a really, really good like, the stats are really good for Wolves, like the defensive stats, but they just keep conceding every single week, which is so annoying because I'm a Semedo owner and he just will not get anything. So I do want to get rid of him as soon as possible. I'm probably going to get rid of him for like Reguilon now that Conte has been confirmed to be the next Spurs manager, but we'll have to see. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Anyway, back to Gallagher. He's got Wolves at home, then Burnley away. And I don't know why they're not green, but Villa and Leeds, I would also say, are green fixtures. You know, Crystal Palace are playing really nice football under the new manager. And yeah, so I would probably say they're all like green fixtures, really. Like, Gallagher could easily score against Wolves, Burnley, Villa, or Leeds. They've all got leaky defenses at the back. Apart from Wolves, like I said, they concede like 1 every game, and it's really annoying. But like Burnley, Villa, and Leeds are a bit leaky at the back, and I could easily see Gallagher scoring there. You could opt to go for Zaha, who is 6.9, 1.2 mil more than Gallagher. He is also on penalties, but if you want a cheaper option, like if you want to downgrade, like if you've got Sarr still and you want to get rid of Sarr, or there's just a player that, you know, you don't like, I don't know, maybe you get an injury this week or something and you want to downgrade, I think Gallagher is a really, really nice option, because then they've got United away, but then after that the fixtures get kind of good again, and I think Norwich is a fixture they have like relatively soon as well, and that's always the fixture you want to be targeting because Norwich are ass. So yeah, sorry to all the Norwich fans watching the video, but I mean, they're not having the greatest season, let's be honest. But yeah, I think that Conor Gallagher is a very nice option, and Zaha is also another option if you did want to go for that player just because of like penalties and stuff like that. But if you want a cheap option who's scoring goals, getting assists, got some nice fixtures coming up, I think Gallagher's your man. That is going to be everything for today's video, though. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to drop a like down below. Let's try and hit 30 likes today. It really, really helps out. Leave a comment. Who are you thinking of bringing in this week? Who are you thinking of selling? Subscribe if you're brand new. That's everything from me. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and until next time, peace.